Imagine replacing every blood test you've ever taken with a single drop of blood. No multiple needles, no vials, no long waits, just one tiny finger prick and hundreds of medical tests. That was Theranos' promise. If it worked, it would completely change medicine. Investors believed it. Doctors talked about it. Walgreens partnered with it. The media celebrated it. The company was worth $9 billion before anyone proved the technology actually worked. So how did a company with an invention that couldn't reliably do what it promised become one of the most valuable startups in Silicon Valley? Nobody enjoys getting a blood test, the needles, the waiting, the uncomfortable feeling of watching vial after vial being filled. Now imagine replacing all of that with a single finger prick. It sounded almost too good to be true, which is exactly why people wanted it to be true. Theranos claimed it had developed a machine capable of performing hundreds of blood tests using just a tiny drop of blood. If it worked, blood testing could become faster, cheaper, less painful, and available almost anywhere. It wasn't just promising a better blood test. It was promising to reinvent one of the most common procedures in modern medicine. Healthcare had been waiting decades for a breakthrough like this. So when Theranos arrived, many people didn't see an impossible idea. They saw the future. Silicon Valley had already produced companies that transformed transportation, communication, shopping, entertainment. Why couldn't healthcare be next? Suddenly, Theranos didn't feel like a gamble. It felt inevitable. There was only one question. Who had actually built it? The answer appeared to be Elizabeth Holmes. Young, confident, ambitious. She left Stanford to pursue a vision that many people believed could change medicine forever. Then came the image. The black turtleneck, the minimalist presentations, the unwavering confidence, the mission to change the world. Before long, comparisons to Steve Jobs became almost unavoidable. The story seemed perfect. A brilliant founder, building impossible technology before anyone else believed it. As Theranos attracted more attention, it also attracted powerful supporters, influential investors, former government officials, military leaders, business executives. The kind of names that made people stop asking, does this technology work? And start asking, why wouldn't it? Because if all of these respected people believed in Theranos, surely someone had already verified the science, right? But that assumption would become one of the biggest reasons the illusion lasted so long. Because behind the scenes, Theranos wasn't just building a revolutionary machine, it was building something else. Belief. So why did so many intelligent people believe Theranos? It didn't happen overnight. It happened one layer at a time. First came the people. Theranos assembled a board filled with former cabinet secretaries, senior military leaders, experienced diplomats, people whose reputations had been built over decades. What many of them didn't have was deep expertise in laboratory diagnostics. But to the outside world, that distinction was almost invisible. People saw respected names and naturally assumed someone must have verified the science. Then came the media, magazine covers, television interviews, awards, conference appearances, and every headline made skepticism feel a little less necessary. Then came major partners. One of the biggest was Walgreens. Theranos testing centers appeared inside real pharmacies. For many people, that answered the question before they even asked it. If Walgreens trusts them, why shouldn't I? Little by little, belief stopped coming from the technology. It came from everything surrounding it. But behind those signals of confidence, another story was unfolding. Nobody outside Theranos really knew how the technology worked. Not journalists, not investors, not even many employees. The company was built around secrecy. Theranos said it was protecting valuable trade secrets. On its own, that wasn't unusual. Many technology companies keep important innovations confidential. But medicine works differently. A scientific breakthrough isn't proven because someone says it works. It's proven because other scientists can test it for themselves. That almost never happened. Instead, visitors saw carefully managed demonstrations. The public saw certainty. Very few people saw the underlying evidence, and strangely, the secrecy itself made the company appear even more credible. They must be protecting something revolutionary. The less people could see, the more they believed there was something extraordinary hidden behind the curtain. For years, that illusion held. Once Theranos partnered with Walgreens, this stopped being a Silicon Valley story. It became a healthcare story, People weren't walking into pharmacies to invest. They were walking in because they wanted answers about their health. Imagine making an important medical decision based on a blood test that wasn't accurate. Whether to start treatment, whether to stop medication, whether to believe something was wrong with your body. According to later investigations and court evidence, some patients reportedly received inaccurate test results. Others underwent additional testing or medical appointments because of results that later proved unreliable. Suddenly, this wasn't about startup valuations anymore. It was about real people, real decisions, real consequences. And quietly, inside the company, some employees had already begun asking the question that almost nobody outside was asking. Did the technology actually work? For years, the people outside Theranos saw confidence. But inside the company, some employees were seeing something very different. They weren't questioning the mission, they were questioning the results. According to court evidence, investigative reporting, and testimony from former employees, some began raising concerns about the technology's accuracy. Some worried that the machines weren't consistently producing reliable results. Others questioned whether the company was relying on conventional laboratory equipment more than it publicly suggested. Speaking up wasn't easy. Former employees described a culture of intense secrecy. Information was tightly controlled. Teams were often separated. Investigative reporting also described aggressive legal action against critics and former employees. For many people, remaining silent seemed safer than speaking out. But eventually, a few decided the risk of staying quiet was even greater. One of those people helped set off a chain reaction that Theranos could no longer control. Because once the story reached investigative journalists, the illusion faced something it had managed to avoid for years: independent verification. In 2015, investigative reporter John Carreyrou at the Wall Street Journal published the first major investigation into Theranos. The reporting raised serious questions about the company's technology, questions that many outsiders had never been able to ask. Regulators began investigating. Partners began distancing themselves. More former employees came forward. What had once looked like isolated concerns started forming a much bigger picture. The feedback loop that had spent years building Theranos suddenly began working in reverse. Positive headlines became critical investigations, prestige became scrutiny, confidence became doubt. One by one, signals that had reinforced belief disappeared. The partnerships unraveled. The public image cracked. The company that had once promised to reinvent healthcare was now struggling to defend its own claims. Eventually, Theranos shut down. The technology never fulfilled the promise that had made it famous. Elizabeth Holmes was later convicted on multiple counts of fraud related to investors. The company that had once been valued at billions of dollars was gone. But the biggest lesson wasn't that Theranos collapsed. It was why it survived for so long. Theranos didn't become a multi-billion-dollar company because one person convinced the entire world. It became one because an entire system kept reinforcing the same story: a revolutionary promise, early investment, prestigious board members, major business partnerships, magazine covers, television interviews, a growing valuation. Each new signal made the next one feel more believable. Eventually, people stopped trusting the evidence. They started trusting the credibility surrounding it. Eventually, belief itself became evidence. And once that happens, asking difficult questions starts to feel almost unreasonable. That's the dangerous part, because almost every signal people normally use to judge whether something is real was pointing in the same direction. The board looked impressive, the investors looked credible, the partners looked trustworthy, the media seemed convinced, the founder looked visionary. Questioning Theranos increasingly meant questioning everyone who already believed in it, and that's the real illusion. Theranos wasn't just the story of one company. It exposed something much bigger. That prestige can substitute for proof. That secrecy can look like innovation. That confidence can be mistaken for competence. And that even intelligent people can reach the wrong conclusion when credibility compounds faster than verification. The next Theranos probably won't look exactly like Theranos. It may be a different technology, a different industry, a different founder. But if we learn anything from this story, it should be this. The next Theranos probably won't look exactly like Theranos. It may have a different founder, a different technology, a different promise. But the next time everyone seems convinced, it might be worth asking one simple question: where's the evidence?